Listening to the grassroots is essential, not only for a leadership race, but to win a general election.
I'm with Jim Carey-Hollias, and he is essentially the conscience of the PC Party of Ontario. He's the man that started Axe the Carbon Tax and Take Back Our PC Party. And lo and behold, it was in protest of the direction that Patrick Brown was taking the party. Well, that was then, this is now. Brown is gone. Jim is back and has been formally apologized to. And we have a new leader. Don't know who quite yet. But what do you make of that? First of all, Jim, a whole lot of nothing was determined tonight, eh?
Well, finally, Jim Carey-Hollias is back at a PC Party convention, Dave. Because the last convention they had, they threw me out because I was campaigning against Patrick Brown's carbon tax. Last time I talked to you last week at the debate, we said it was going to be a nail-biter coin toss, I told you, and that's what it seems like it is tonight, because they've wrapping up the convention and they are still counting ballots. So we don't know which way it's going to go, but it is a nail-biter. But after months of campaigning, one thing is clear. We've got 4 candidates all against the carbon tax, and Tanya came out of the gate against the corruption in the party and the themes of the Take Back Our PC Party. Doug agreed with her, so we've seen where the direction of the party's gone recently going in this leadership.
And Jim, in the Department of Misery Likes Company, you were kicked out of a convention. So too were we as the members of the media, not given an official excuse. But I mean, what do you make of that kind of vindictiveness that they would look upon, a conservative-leaning media outlet as media non grata?
Well, there's a disconnect between what's going on at the top of this party and the grassroots. Look, it's evidence right here. I'm a former member who was running 2 campaigns, one against the carbon tax and one about the corruption in the party and having proper governance of the party. So think about this. We just had a leadership campaign where all 4 candidates were talking about opposition to the carbon tax and corruption in the party. So the themes of this campaign were driven by someone they threw out of the party? That's a disconnect between what's going on the ground and the grassroots and what the people that are running the party think about that. There's a huge disconnect.
It is astonishing, and assuming that it is indeed Doug Ford who is the new leader, I mean, my goodness, what a 180 switch. A leader, Patrick Brown, who was making this party liberal light, if you will, to someone who is on board with the issues that are near and dear with your heart, first and foremost, no carbon tax.
Well, if Patrick Brown ran on a pro-carbon tax, I don't care what the PC Constitution says, he would have never been leader of the party. But we're seeing the votes adding up for those candidates in the race that were embracing the positions that the grassroots wanted. Tanya Granick-Allen jumped out of the gate. She embraced the Take Back Our PC Party themes. She talked about corruption. She's going to overperform on the final ballot. For someone that no one knew, she's going to do great on the final ballot because she embraced those themes that I've been writing about for 6 months. And Doug Ford, right out of the gate, I'm going to axe the carbon tax. It's been a campaign that's been going on for a year, and that's why he's got a good shot at winning this thing. Even Christine, initially, she benefited from the fact that she was the person who lost to Patrick Brown last time. She started out of the gate as the anti-Patrick Brown candidate. She made the right choice on the carbon tax. She finally came around to agree that the Constitution had not been followed, and they benefited. Caroline, on the other hand, who took 2 days to figure out what her position was on the carbon tax, and who couldn't admit that there was an issue with the party because she was Patrick Brown's star candidate, she underperformed, or it looks like she's going to underperform, on the final ballot.
And Jim, regardless of who is the leader, hopefully come Sunday or Monday or whenever it's chosen, is there not still a lot of house cleaning? I know the clock is ticking, but you know more than anyone that there have been so many ridings that have ended in disarray, controversy, even outright fraud. We have a criminal investigation in one, Hamilton, Ancaster, West Dundas. Is there enough time to have new nomination ridings, or is the leader going to have to go with whoever's installed already?
No, there's plenty of time. I mean, not all the nominations have been done. But look, when I was talking about my campaigns about governance of the party and the Constitution, people thought it was eye-glazing. What's the big deal? Some people even suggested this has happened before. And then yesterday, on Friday, all the media was talking about the PC Constitution when the court challenge came. So it's quite clear that this is a legal document and it matters. Democracy matters. So we heard today Vic Fideli at the convention talk about the party uniting because there are bigger issues at hand. The unity of the party is easy to do. The next leader has to step forward and say, we're going to follow the Constitution of the party and we're going to listen to the grassroots. It's not a really dramatic question or a difficult thing to do, the next leader is going to have to address these things. And those nominations that were not done in an open, public, democratic fashion, Tanya Granick-Allen took the lead on that. Doug has agreed with her. And I'm hoping whoever comes out ahead is going to make the right call on those.
And Jim, what do you make of what's happened tonight? I mean, everyone was thinking, oh, thank goodness, especially after that 11th hour court decision of yesterday, we are going to have closure, we are going to know a new leader, and here we are, kept in suspense as, I don't know, is there some tie-breaking process going on? Is it some scrutineering of ballots? What do you make of what's going on?
So I don't have good knowledge. I mean, if it's a close race and it's neck and neck, there's going to be recounts probably. I don't really know. Challenges of votes. We don't know. They've been locked in a room. But this is an example, a highlight or an anecdotal example of what happens in an association or a political party when the rules are not followed and the constitution of the party is not followed for 2 or 3 years. When you park it, and when the party needs to come together, and you've dismissed the constitution in the past, this is what happens at the end. And it's not a clean process that it should be, but this is why in future this party has to take governance seriously and follow the governance processes that are in place, both in the constitution and traditionally, so we avoid this chaos and this party avoids this chaos again, because it's not a small thing. You know, Vic said, let's unify because our small differences. And he did a great job as interim leader trying to root out the rot. But fair voting and corruption in a voting system and cleaning out that corruption and governance, those are not small things, Dave. Those are fundamental to our democracy. We can't just roll over and say, what's the big deal?
And one last question, Jim. Is this a measure of vindication for you? I mean, we go back a few months and Patrick Brown is the leader of the party, kicked you out of the party, suing you. Now Patrick Brown is yesterday's man, and the things you are fighting for are being embraced by the candidates. I mean, it must feel good.
Well, I don't think vindication for me is the word, but I'm happy for the supporters of Axe the Carbon Tax and for Take Back Our PC Party, because for a long time people were dismissing us. You know, commentators are saying anyone can just put up a website. It doesn't mean that the grassroots care. You know, Patrick Brown was saying the grassroots were for the carbon tax. So it is vindication for those supporters who came and supported Axe the Carbon Tax and Take Back Our PC Party, and candidates like Doug and Tanya embraced the message that these supporters wanted to hear, and Caroline and Christine came around at the end of the campaigns. So yes, grassroots campaigns matter, and a leadership race is not the time to come up with new ideas, and that's why grassroots campaigns matter, because they affect the vote, and listening to the grassroots is essential, not only for a leadership race, but to win a general election.
You know, it's funny, I see so many people walking by, they recognize you, they're doing thumbs up, somebody yelled out, hey, way to go, Jim. So, again, good for you, Jim, and thank you for spending time with us. I'm always looking over my shoulder. You're welcome back here. We're not welcome here. I don't want that McGilla gorilla security guard to give us the bums rush again. So thank you so much, Jim. Okay. Hey, folks, have you heard the Rebel has a brand new app? Please download the Rebel app and take the Rebel with you wherever you go.